Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. In today's video we're going to be talking about 7 common mistakes that students usually make when they are just starting to learn English. And what will usually happen is if the mistakes are not corrected early, the student will keep making the mistake again and again and again, and it will start sounding normal to the student. So they will keep making the mistake even after they have allegedly reached an advanced level of English, and they will keep making the mistake even if they know the correct form. So they will basically be making the mistake unconsciously. And so it is important to correct these mistakes early, and that's what we're going to do today. So let's get started, and if you enjoyed this video, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. Okay, so mistake number 1. I have 3 children. The problem here is that the majority of nouns are made plural in English by adding the letter S or ES in some situations. So for example, shoe becomes shoes and book becomes books. However, there are some irregular nouns that don't follow this formula, and this is one of them. So the singular form is child. For example, there is a child playing outside. The plural form is children, so the correct sentence here would be I have 3 children. The word children's as a plural form doesn't exist. Mistake number 2. My sister has 27 years. In many languages we use the equivalent of the verb have to talk about age. However, in English we use the verb to be. So we say, I am 27 years old, or my sister is 27 years old. Additionally, be careful with the expression years old. It is possible to eliminate this phrase from the sentence. So for example, my sister is 27. However, if you eliminate it, you must eliminate it completely. So if you say, my sister is 27 years, this is not correct. My sister is 27, or my sister is 27 years old. I am 27, or I am 27 years old. Mistake number 3. I am agree with you. In many languages we express agreement with an expression that roughly translates into English to be agree, or to be in agreement, which is probably where the mistake comes from. In English, however, we have a single word, a verb, that expresses the same idea. So we simply say, I agree. We use the verb agree. And if it's a negative sentence, we would say, I don't agree. The same structure as any other verb in the simple present. In a question, it would be, do you agree? Number 4, Lucy born in 1989. This is basically the opposite problem of the previous mistake. Many languages use a single verb to express this idea, but in English, born is not a verb. Instead, it is part of the expression to be born. So basically the verb is the verb to be, and we conjugate the verb to be according to the situation, the majority of the time in the simple past. So the correct sentence is Lucy was born in 1989. If you were asking a question, we would say, when was Lucy born? Number 5, I have to work the Saturday. The problem here is that the sentence has probably been translated literally, word by word, from another language. In English, we don't use the before a day of the week. Instead, we use the preposition on. So the correct sentence is, I have to work on Saturday. Number 6, Maria doesn't like soccer. It is true that we add an S to the verb in the simple present if the subject is he, she, or it, or anything equivalent to he, she, it. So for example, Maria, which is equivalent to she. However, remember that in a negative sentence and in questions we have 2 verbs. We have the auxiliary do, and we have the main verb. And what happens when you have two verbs is that only one of them changes. The first verb changes. So basically the auxiliary. In this case, we have to change the verb do to does in a question, and don't changes to doesn't if it's a negative sentence. The main verb stays the same. There is no S in the verb. So basically the correct sentence is Maria doesn't like soccer. And finally we have our seventh mistake. Can you borrow me a pencil? The problem here is that many students confuse the verb borrow and lend. Basically, borrow means to take something temporarily. Lend means to give something to someone temporarily. So if I say, can I borrow a pencil? That is correct. Can I take a pencil to use? However, in the question, can you borrow me a pencil? Can you take me a pencil? Doesn't really make sense. What you're asking is if you can give me a pencil. So the correct question would be, can you lend me a pencil?